Time to talk to the doc on a Tuesday, presented to you by Mako's Market and Pharmacy at 240 East 3rd Street in downtown Uricksville. Stop in. Their pharmacy can help you. They're very knowledgeable. Any questions, they can definitely answer them for you at Mako's Market and Pharmacy. Dr. Tim McKnight from Trinity Hospital, Twin City Inn. Good morning.
Good morning, Steve.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How
Good.
are you?
I'm doing very well. And, holidays are over. Now it's back to reality. It's January. Everybody's trying to live up to those resolutions. We ate everything in sight like an eating machine from Thanksgiving through the end of the year, including a lot of sugars, a lot of fatty foods, and now we're having serious withdrawal.
Yeah, that's true.
This is for real.
It really is. This is not just mental or emotional weakness. This is chemistry. There's a couple of hormones that if that resonates with your personal story, then this is hormone driven. And until we overcome those and just smash those hormones down at low levels where they don't impact us, we struggle. There's no question.
But I mean, going from New Year's Eve and Christmas and all of these holidays, eating and drinking everything in sight, to the day of January 1, cutting it off cold turkey. This is tough for our bodies to understand what's going on.
That's true, but addiction specialists say that's the way you do it. You do it cold turkey. You don't slowly. So you have to be prepared for this, and you have to understand that when we eat certain foods, particularly sugars, the hormone, the neurotransmitter that gives us that pleasurable sensation is dopamine. It makes us feel good. And when we continue to eat sugar at the same level, our receptors sort of downregulate, and we don't get the same pleasurable response. So we have to eat more to get that response. So that's part of this. That's part of what we're feeling is, boy, we've been releasing dopamine all through the holidays, feeling really good. We're with family and we're eating and we're off work, and then boom, we're back into a routine. But dopamine is saying, "Hey, you've given me so much of this lately. Where is it?"
Yeah.
And the only way to get it is by eating more sugar. But then we have another interesting phenomena that happens in the brain, and that's the opiate receptors, and that's a reward center also. And that when we activate that with sugar, that's where that's the link with sugar and addiction. Then that leads to compulsive behavior. And I'm sure I'm not going to say you, but I know I personally have had this experience where I start eating sugar, and then I'm eating it compulsively, where I don't really crave it that much, but it's a compulsion, like just shove it in like I'm a trash can.
Right.
And
well, that's what I'm saying. And cutting it off, it's like, I need this fix. I'm having trouble functioning without my fix.
Yes, absolutely. And so that's real chemistry. But one of the things we're going to talk about this week and next week in Fit for Life is our body can adapt so quickly to environmental changes. Yes, it's tough to stop that, but if you resist the temptation to eat sugar, that drive will, in a very short time, be significantly less. And you've probably had this experience. I've had this experience, and probably others have. When you get away from sugar for a couple of weeks, you really don't crave it that much. But you start eating. It's like smoking. You cut back on smoking, and then for some reason you start up again, and you're right back to it. We're really talking about addictions, but the body can change so quick and adapt so quickly. It's amazing to me. We can change the lining of our blood vessels. We can change the bacterial content of our gut. We can change our receptors on our cells within 12-hour period of time, just based on the things that they're exposed to.
And now I've had that cookie, or multiple cookies and cakes and pies and everything else, and now you're telling me I need to munch on a carrot or a piece of celery, and my body just doesn't understand this. But like you're saying, just forge ahead. I mean, are you going to get headaches? Are you going to?
You might have. You might have some headaches. You might feel irritable, feel fatigued. But again, this is just 24 to 48 hours, and what you have to do is just prepare yourself mentally. It's like get rid of all the sugar, all the temptations out of the kitchen, out of the house. Prepare to have those snacks, whether it's some celery and peanut butter, or a handful of nuts, or whatever it is that you can eat to kind of substitute for those cravings. And then get active. Don't sit around and think about it. You got to be distracted.
And the other thing I know that you preach a lot about is water. You've got to just constantly be drinking water.
Absolutely.
Because your body needs that to
Right.
keep hydrated and
Yes.
and just keep forging ahead. I mean, this is the time where a couple weeks into the new year, where people have been faithful here for a couple of weeks, and now they're saying, heck with this. I'm going back to eating some sugar.
Right, and I think it's because they just don't understand. They don't realize that you're so close to putting this behind you if you just forge ahead and not give up. And that's where we've talked before about intermittent fasting. That is the best way to drive down the appetite. If you reduce your carb intake and you fast intermittently, you'll lose that appetite, and you'll start to change those receptors and those neurotransmitters in your brain, and within a week's time you can feel completely different.
Right.
But that first week is tough. It's the same. It's kind of like the energy that's required for the space shuttle to break through the pull of the gravity. Most of the energy
Great
is expended
analogy.
right at the very beginning.
Yeah.
But once you get up, beyond the pull of gravity, you're sailing, and it's not hard at all.
Don't give up.
No, don't give up. But
keep
you
fighting.
have to have a plan to get through that first couple of days.
Yeah.
Because it's tough.
Yeah, it really is, and it's for real. I mean, your body is saying, I need that sugar. I need that high fat item that I've been eating, but you really don't. You can keep fighting ahead, and like you say, your body's going to feel that. All of a sudden, it's going to be easier for you.
Yeah. Something I read a couple of weeks ago that really inspired me was one of the leaders that I admire said he learned to discipline his spirit over his body. In other words, what my mind and my spirit said was I was going to dictate what my body did. And not give in to that. And that's really been kind of an inspirational message for me to say, look, I'm not giving in to these cravings. I'm in control here, and I will feel so much better once I get past this.
I know we've talked about this too. This time of year makes it really tough because it gets dark at 5 o'clock, and you're sitting around watching TV, and it's easy to snack and to to do things that just to fill the hours.
Right.
And so that's another factor that you're fighting to try to make this whole thing work.
And those are hormones too. Those are hormones that cause us to feel tired or to not feel tired, and it's all about chemistry. But we're not putting this all together. I know I was talking to somebody the other day that said she eats carbs at night so she can go to sleep. Mm-hmm. Well, if you're a carb eater and you're making a lot of insulin and you have a bowl of ice cream and a couple of cookies, you will get tired.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, there's serotonin is another hormone involved. There's leptin, and there's ghrelin, and there's dopamine, and there's insulin, and all these hormones come together, and they really impact our chemistry. But we can be in control of this. Mm-hmm. And again, the point is our body can change pretty quickly if we just take control.
Absolutely. We're talking with Dr. Tim McKnight. It's Talk to the Doc on a Tuesday morning, presented by Mako's Market and Pharmacy in Uricksville. You can call Mako's Pharmacy at 740-922-5400. They can answer a lot of your questions as well. Dopamine, we have to have this in our body, but you have to have the right amount. Is basically what you're saying.
I showed this image in our class last week. Healthy, fit people. If they take a picture of the brain, they can see where dopamine is released, and it's in a PET scan, and it's a certain color. And then someone who's obese actually has less dopamine. Huh. So they use food as a way to bring that dopamine level up. Wow. And then if you look at the brain of an alcoholic or someone who's addicted to cocaine, there's virtually nothing there. There's no pleasure. So the only way they feel any pleasure short term is to abuse those drugs. And so we try to reason with these people with a brain that thinks and is wired differently, and that's why they really need the help of a specialist. But yeah, it's really, really interesting.
Yeah, and the brain's real strong as far as telling you, you just say, heck with this, I'm going to grab that bag of cookies and go to town.
Yeah.
Fight that urge. Tell that brain no.
And the other thing is, I think we do best when our bodies don't know what we're going to do next. If you're in the gym exercising and you start doing the same routine within a few weeks, there's going to be no response, no further response. You have to change it up. And that's and intermittent fasting. It's not 16 or 18 hours every day. It's intermittently, you're changing that. It's a 24-hour fast. It's a 20, it's a 36, it's a 48-hour fast. And with food, it's the same way. We have to constantly be changing, what we're eating.
Sure.
And sort of fool the body, because that's how it's designed to cope.
Great advice, as always, from Dr. Tim McKnight. Week 2 of Fit for Life tonight. And again, last week it was just welcome to the class, kind of overview of what we're going to be doing. You're going to jump into the meat of the course this evening.
Yes, we're talking about mindfulness. This awareness. Are you aware of these chemistries driving your behavior?
Yeah.
It's not psychological weakness. It's chemistry that's making you feel this way. We have to be aware of that.
Great advice, and we'll talk again next week.
Thank you.
Be strong. Don't give up on those.
No, don't give up. We're all capable.
Absolutely. Great advice, as always, from Dr. Tim McKnight, Talk to the Doc, and we will do it again next week, again presented Tuesday mornings at this time on Big Hits WBTC by Mako's Market and Pharmacy.